Hey everybody, it's your brother Zen, and I'm bringing you messages of love from above. This video is going to be for the Virgo snow full moon that's coming up on February 27th. So I'm going to go ahead and do a pick a card reading here. All these cards are from the Moonology Oracle card deck here. And I love this deck because the little book that comes with it really gives you some good information about what each of the different phases of the moon and different zodiac signs that the moon happens to be in when it's in the new moon, full moon, etc. So that's where I'm kind of getting the information that I have for these cards to give to you too. So I'm going to do the pick a card. This will be reading 1, 2, and 3, and I'll show you each one of these. This one is the new moon in Virgo. This is a time to give rather than take. And the reason I'm looking at the new moon in Virgo is because of the cycles of the moon. Like, this is the full moon. 6 months ago, around August 18th is when we had the new moon in Virgo. So that's when you planted seeds. That's when certain, whatever was going on in your life, you have a culmination, you have kind of a climax or a transformation when the full moon hits in that sign around 6 months later. So that's when this full moon in Virgo is hitting, which will be number 2. And then because it is a full moon, and it's just not just, but it's not like an eclipse or something along those lines. So this is going to be the full moon here, which says surrender to the divine, and that'll be reading number 3. So as I go into each one of these cards here, I'll talk a little bit about like what the new moon in Virgo was doing back in August, kind of what the drama or the situations, the experiences you were having kind of were happening around that when the new moon was kind of starting off. And I'll talk about the full moon in Virgo, what that brings for you. And then also we'll focus in on the full moon, just surrendering to the divine for the third reading as well. One of the good things that's coming around here is I'm actually recording this, of course, today. I like to do it a week in advance to give everyone a full moon warning, because you're going to start to probably dream a lot more intensely and where your dreams feel realistic. You also will start to feel the kind of the expansion of your emotions, because around a full moon you do have it's like the amplification of whatever you're feeling. So that moon energy comes in, and like how it affects the tides of the earth, it also affects the tides of our emotions. So you'll start to do that. But one of the nice things that's happening today and tomorrow, based on where you're at in the world, is the Mercury retrograde is ending. So we're stopping looking backward and we're going to start looking forward again. So instead of feeling like we're spinning our wheels, we're going to start getting traction and start moving forward again. So that's good news, right? Now is a time that we can take action on our dreams. So, and we'll talk a little bit about more about that when we get into the full moon for Virgo as well. So pick as many of those as you would like to look at, and I'll have links in the description box below, somewhere over here, probably over here, somewhere over here. Will be in the description box below, and let you know reading 1, 2, and 3, and so you can jump around to whichever one you want if you didn't choose to listen to them all or listen to the first one. So we'll go ahead and jump in to reading number 1. All right, if you chose reading number 1, then this is the reading for you for the new moon in Virgo. And I'll show you this in case you just had jumped to it. It does say here, a time to give rather than take. So we're kind of looking back around what was going on in your life around August 18th of 2020, because that's when the new moon in Virgo was last, when the new moon was last in Virgo. And during that time, what that new moon in Virgo brings into your life is kind of the questions of, well, it brings like a focus on health and new routines. There could have been blocks that were going on around that time over like overanalyzing yourself or being too critical of yourself or others. And like you mentioned, it was a time to give rather than receive. So you kind of had this drive in your heart to just give and give and give, and you really didn't care about receiving around that time. You just had this urge inside to give to others. Now, another big piece of that was kind of like getting your life in order, and that could have been, both spiritual, physical, emotional, just your life, any piece of it. So you could have had questions coming up around that time too, was, where am I? Where do I want to go? What is my dream? And so what I felt drawn to do is to focus in on that piece for you, for whoever chose this first reading, is to kind of ask, the Creator and all our wonderful messengers from the other side of unconditional love, just where can I get my life in order? We've come, about 6 months from now, you've gone through a lot, you've looked at a lot. So now we can ask, where in my life can I still have any opportunity to get some of that order instilled in my life? So what I'm going to do, and I'll go ahead and I'll put it over here. And I'm going to use my Oracle deck that I'm working on with the Creator. We're co-creating it together. It has a variety of different stacks, and the first 2 stacks have to do with understanding our emotional fire, our fears, kind of what's driving it all. So I combine the first 2 stacks into one because it really just gives us a lot of clarity into what situation is kind of rattling our cages. So I'll go ahead and do that. And so before I start, I always just like to take a deep breath and thank the Creator for all your unconditional love. Thank you for being here with us, delivering your messages for us. We also thank all our angels and our guides, our loved ones who have gone to the other side, our ancestors. We just thank you for your unconditional love and for your assistance in bringing through messages as well. So for those that chose reading number 1, what is it that we can still find a little more order in our life, and what we can look at this time in our life? What kind of clarity would you like to give us? Okay. So this is the one that's coming up here. And I'll try to not get the glare on here. So I know seeing that kind of, but it's about disgust, which brings that feeling, right? And even before this last season of voting that we went through, that kind of had so much drama and division and just around it all. I had made this card like a couple of years ago. So, but what disgust does is, it's like this feeling that we have inside when other people make a choice or decision that just feels so, quote, wrong to us, that it moves beyond being angry, beyond hatred, just disgust. I just can't stand that decision. And we confuse that with, I'm disgusted by that person. And really we're not. We just didn't like their choice. We didn't like the action. And that is something that can help differentiate that for us. What I love is what the Creator gives us on the bottom here. You can see here it's look higher. And what that does is this helps us transform these feelings and these emotions into unconditional love and joy and peace and even laughter. Because what it tells us is this little dark shadowed character here is our little self, this character that we play on the earth. But this blue above it, that is our higher self, that being that is the actor behind all the characters that we are. So it's that being that is a spiritual, supernatural, eternal, powerful spirit being made of unconditional love. So when we're able to look beyond these actions, beyond this character that's walking around on the earth, close our eyes, take a deep breath, and see that there's someone higher behind them, and that these actions that are being taken are actually being taken for us to have us look into our own selves to find out what's going on. Because our emotions are flags that something can be looked at inside of us, because it's some sort of fear that is there. What am I afraid of? Am I afraid that they are right and I am wrong? Oh, God forbid, right? Or what does it mean? When they act that way, what does that mean about me? What does that mean about my lovability? What does that mean about my acceptability? So there's a lot of reflection that we can do looking inside ourselves based on these feelings that we have. But it starts by realizing that it's not personal against us, it's personal for us. Because like any script, like any actor, like any drama, it's decided beforehand, kind of like an improv, what kind of situations we're going to go through. And so we've asked for this situation to happen in our life so that we can be awakened, so that we can be rattled, so that we can question, this disappointment we have in the external world, and go, okay, why would I want this to have, happened in my life? What can I learn from this about myself? So that is, when we're asking about what else can we get in order, I'm sure this is so much for all of us, right? To step into unity in 2021, which is what kind of my focus for 2021 is, what I really felt Spirit is saying, this is the year where we realize unity, because 2020, we realized, seeing so clearly with 2020 vision now, we see what division feels like, what it feels to be at such odds. This is the year to feel that opposite, to look beyond what separates us and focus on what unites us, what we all have in common, which is really, we're all higher beings, right? So I'm going to put that here. And then I'm going to dig a little deeper. The third stack that I have in this deck is the contrast. And that just tells us what's at the root of our emotions and just helps us understand those a little more. Since this was a minus 23 on the bottom, that adds up to 2 plus 3 is 5. So if a card doesn't make itself known, then I'll take 5 from the bottom of the deck just to get some clarity here. So if you can help us understand a little bit more about what's at the root of this disgust, this division, this judgment of others' decisions. Okay, so 1 didn't jump out, so we're going to take 5 from the bottom. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and this will be number 5. Yep, rejected. So this is a couple things. The first thing it is, of course, this is when you get to the root of so many of our emotions, it's the fear of being rejected by, the ones that we love and we want to be accepted by, our friends, our family, our partners, God even. So, that's our biggest fear is, being rejected. So one of the things we can look at and get to the root is just asking, what if I'm rejected? What would that mean? Face that fear. Would I be rejected? Yeah, maybe by some, Families are divided on, political stuff, on religious beliefs, on just life beliefs in general, and those things can separate and cause division, and some might actually reject you. But what if that does? One of the things that when I decided to come out, I was so afraid to come out, and I was afraid that the entire world was going to reject me. But when I sat there and just really contemplated that, I was like, there's over 7 billion people on the planet there's got to be at least one among all of that wouldn't reject me, one human. And there probably is even 100. Yeah, they might be over in, Southeast Asia on the other side of the world, but I will find them. And then, of course, the Creator, when I realized over time, the Creator has unconditional love for me, so I could never be rejected by the big kahuna, the most powerful being in all of our existence. So, if the king or queen of the kingdom loves you, then who cares, what the rest of the kingdom does, right? But that, made me realize, okay, I can be myself. What am I afraid of? What am I really afraid of? The other thing with this card is, this is a part of a 3-part manipulation process that we all experience in life, and it's kind of what we're taught from generation to generation. The first part of manipulating someone or being manipulated is when we act hurt when we don't get our way, right? We're like, oh, I'm so disappointed in you, and you didn't do what I wanted you to do. And if that doesn't work, then we go into the bullied, position of we try to force them to do what we want to do by acting angry and outburst and, even violent sometimes, right? And we're like, you didn't do what I wanted you to do. You better do what I wanted you to do or else. And ultimately what we're afraid of is this rejection here, which is the third step. So if the acting sad didn't work, or sad or hurt, or, the bullying didn't work on us or on the other, then we do the rejection, right? We unfriend them on Facebook, or don't answer their texting, or, whatever we do, hang up on the phone or give them the cold silent treatment if we live with them. And if that doesn't work, then we'll revert and we'll, or if the other person's trying to us, they'll go back to the first step and go, I can't believe you didn't pursue me after I hung up on you, wasn't doing it. You didn't try hard enough. And then bullying and then rejection. And once you realize and you see that, it's just so stark of how it is. So, but all of that, just to help us understand that what we can get in order is our belief around others' choices, and just looking into that fear of, would I be rejected, and would I die if I am rejected? And if you fear death, if you're like, yeah, I would be rejected and I feel like I would die, or they might kill me, look at your fear of death. And, that is the other huge fear of ours, is the unknown of death. So if you feel this fear of dying, then I would, look into that piece too. And actually, I do have a podcast on that subject, and I'll put that in the description box below too, if you want to go and listen to that. It's probably just like a 20-minute little podcast on the fear of death. So I'll include that as well. All right, well, we don't want this all to be doom and gloomy, oh my goodness. So we're going to go ahead and we'll look at the tools of light that can also help us transform this, in addition to that looking higher piece here. And because this is a +7, if a card doesn't make itself known, then I'll choose the 7th card from the top. We'll see what additional information we can get here. We can use all the tools we can get for this journey. Any extra stuff, just to make this peaceful and enjoyable. And I really feel this one is jumping out here. Yep, the power to laugh. I love this card. I love to laugh, and in fact, I laugh more than other people sometimes thought I should at situations that weren't too funny to them. But I choose laughter because it does destroy fear, and that's why this is on here. We can choose to laugh in different situations. We have all these supposed to's on. You're not supposed to laugh at that. This is how you're supposed to do. They're like, well, my cat died, and I'm like, well, I guess I ran out of all 9 lives. You're like, well, that wasn't funny, and you're like, but we can choose to laugh at the things that are supposed to be so devastating to us, because why are they devastating? It's like, well, my cat's no longer around me. And I'm like, yeah, but it's on the other side having a blast. It'll be there, that soul behind that feline cat will be on the other side waiting for you. In fact, it never leaves you, just like our loved ones when they pass. They never leave us. In fact, now they're not limited by physical. They're around us 24 hours a day. They're never away from us. They can follow us everywhere, even where cats aren't allowed. Now they're with us, and they'll make themselves known if we'll quiet ourselves, and make that where we can hear those whispers of love from the other side. We can quiet ourselves. What else I love about this card is, the mouth is all highlighted in this higher vibrational love, aqua blue. And that is I call it the power of adjectives. And what that means is that, what anything happens in our life, these is an example here, that whatever adjective we put toward that is what defines the story. It's the story we put to what's going on, because life just happens. These situations just happen, right? In this case, let's say voting. So elections happened. They just happened. Now, whatever I use to describe that election result is up to me, and it's the story I'm going to live until I change that story. So, in whatever year it may be, because, whatever side you were on, or if you were in the middle as an independent, at some point, whoever you voted for didn't win, unless you've really fluctuated in your parties and have chosen, the winning side all the time, right? So regardless of what happened, I could be on that result was disgusting, or that result was amazing. In either way, I'm going to be living a different story around that all, but I get to choose what it means. And so when we remove adjectives from things, we really start to see the truth of life, right? So instead of saying it was a disgusting election, I can say it was an election. Or I can say I've had a hard day. I can get rid of the hard, that's the adjective, and just say I've had a day. So when I start questioning all those adjectives that I put on things, that is what also transforms my life. So that goes right in with those two. But laughter. So many people, especially over this last year, I'm like, when's the last time you laughed? When's the last time you had a really, deep belly laugh? When you really laughed at life, a situation, sometimes it just needs to start with a grin, start with a smile. I try to watch comedy, at least one little YouTube comedy video a day, just to bring humor and bring laughter and bring silliness in, because when we return back to that, laughing like children, and children laugh so much, right? It's like they got it, right? They have this happy life, and they're just laughing. So I can't encourage enough. Laugh as much as you can. All right, and then I'm going to jump to the last deck, which this talks about how is unconditional love expressed to you, or how can you express unconditional love to the world? And the reason I'm doing this one is because, when I was talking about, at this time in our life with the Mercury retrograde, is now leaving, today or tomorrow, depending, like I said, where you were living. Now's the time where we can take action on our dreams. And a lot of times we're going, well, I don't know what my dream is. I know what people are saying I'm supposed to be and supposed to do, but that's not what I want to do. What do I want to do? What is my dream? And we've maybe lived our lives so much for other people all our lives that we don't know what we really want to do. What is it that I truly want to do? So that's what I feel. We'll get some guidance from this card, just some ideas on how you can do that. And since this was a 12, 1 plus 2 is 3, so if a card doesn't make itself known, I'll take the third card from the top. All right. If you can give us some guidance on for those that drew this first card, on just an idea on how I can express love to the world. Okay, this one is making itself known here. Great. And this is Love Spoken. And I love this card because it's kind of based a little bit on the 5 languages of love. You know, how do we like to receive love, you know, as this physical character on the earth? You know, because we're taught as these you know, the little shadow character, we're taught, look outside of yourself for your love and for your validation of love. But how can we speak unconditional love out to the world? How can we give that? And there's a variety of ways. Even, you know, it could be just telling people that you love them unconditionally. It can be in a card, it can be in a social media post, it could be on a podcast, anything vocally where it's spoken. You know, written word is a way that you can have it's a voice, right? So any kind of way that you can voice unconditional love out to the world is what I'm hearing from, you know, the Creator for you. It's like, rather than expressing disgust, you know, through laughter, maybe it's even being a comedian. If that's specifically for anyone out there, maybe you spread love through laughter, you know, but the spoken word is what I'm hearing for you on there. All right. And to end the reading here, I'm going to pull a card here from this Queen of the Moon Oracle and just get a final parting message for those of you that chose the first card. All right, what final message do you have for those that chose? I really feel this one right here. Yep, this is the long night moon, which would be a new moon, which is what we chose, right? This is number 40. Sorry, I know there's a little glare there. I got some beautiful light outside. I just wanted to capture all that. Look at the little bunny rabbit. I love that card. I'm just going to put that right here for now. And we'll read from the little book that comes with it and just see what information it brings. So it talks about darkness. Of course, a new moon is when the moon is hardly there at all. And it says, you are entering a time of introversion, a leaner time, or a time to turn inward to plan and strategize. It is time to do shadow work, which will bring big dividends later on. Release what no longer works for you. The little kind of phrase it has is, the darkness needs to be there as much as does the light. So one of the earliest human fears is said to be a fear of the dark. We fear what we can't see, and we fear what may be hiding. In reality, the dark is as important as the light. In nature, there are many nocturnal animals that go about the business of living under the moon, not the sun. The darker times of the lunar and seasonal cycles signal a time to naturally turn inwards, to stay close to home, to look closely at ourselves, and to plan for the light. In the northern hemisphere, the long night moon usually occurred in December around the winter solstice. This is when the nights are indeed long and the hours of sunshine short. It's cold, and people would begin to be snowed in. A lot of people are snowed in the United States right now. It is during these long nights we can begin to do our shadow work, undertaking the self-reflection needed to identify what isn't working for us and what might be causing us pain. This could be a bad habit, a destructive pattern, a recurring useless fear, or anything that holds us back from being the best we can be. Once we see these aspects of ourselves in the dark, we can simply decide whether they must go. We can decide to release them once and for all. we get to transform. Wow. This does give, if you're into crystals and stones, the companion stone of this is onyx. So that can also help you transform those energies of fear into, the unconditional love, joy, and peace. And what a perfect ending for that. I mean, because really when we were talking, all about the shadows, working on the shadow, understanding what is at the root of all that, understanding, the fear of rejection. So what a perfect ending. What a perfect ending. Do the bunny rabbit in the shadows, right? Well, I hope this resonated a little bit with you and brought a little light into your darkness as you are reflecting during this time. Everything I do to help us understand who we are and remember that we are these powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit beings made of unconditional love. And remembering that deep connection we do have with the Creator that we have just temporarily veiled. So, I just wish you all the best. If this did resonate with you, as always, I definitely appreciate, any likes and any comments, any sharing of the video, or subscribing to my channel. All those things do help out with my videos to appear under other individuals' recommended and suggested videos, so we can spread more love, more Zen into the life of others. So if you want to do any of that, it's free. I definitely appreciate it. I appreciate you for taking the time to listen to this reading here. And I send you all my love, all the joy you can handle, and all the peace you can handle. You take care. All right, welcome to reading number 2. If you chose the full moon in Virgo, then this is the reading for you. I'm going to put that over here. And so with the full moon in Virgo coming up, really what that brings is overall it's a time to declutter. And that can mean, decluttering your physical area, your spiritual area, your emotional area, just your life in general. And so you can ask yourself, what's serving your dreams? What's not serving your dreams? And those things that aren't, then we can let them go, and we can, like I said, declutter and let all the energy that you're investing in maintaining those things that aren't serving you any longer, let them go. And then you have that extra energy to invest in you and in your dreams. And you can clear your energies a variety of ways. You can do it with meditation. You can do it with like salt baths, grounding yourself out in nature, and whatever that grounds you and that just brings you to that clear place where you can see the things that you need to let go. For this reading, because it is focusing on that, what I'm going to do for the full moon in Virgo piece of this reading is we'll ask what is no longer serving me, what is no longer serving my dreams. And for this one, I'm going to use an oracle deck that I'm working on with the Creator. It's like seven stacks within the deck. I've combined the first two, which deal with the fiery emotions and what's underneath those emotions, so it can help us understand where those are coming from. So before I do that, I always just like to thank the Creator for their unconditional love, and just take a deep breath. And thank you for being here with us, bringing your messages of love to us. And also thank all our angels, our spirit guides, our loved ones who have passed to the other side, and any of those unconditionally loving spirit beings that help bring those messages of love. We welcome you and we thank you as well. All right, so we're going to ask, what are we not aware of, or even maybe we are aware of it, but what can we still focus on decluttering in our life in order to invest that energy in our dreams instead? I love it. Stress. 33, and that's a master number 2 about mastering our spiritual path. And I love, with all these cards here, the Creator gave us a way to transform this emotion into unconditional love, peace, and joy. And it talks about focus on the important. So talking about this card, we feel we have the weight of the world, sometimes 2 worlds on our shoulder, right? Or even more. Feel like we have a whole solar system on our back, trying to please everyone, trying to make sure everything unfolds exactly as it is. And so the stress is fear of letting down the world, dropping the ball, dropping the world. And we're afraid that we're going to hurt other people. We have all this long list of things that we think are supposed to happen and supposed to be, and everything starts to feel like it's urgent, right? But what I love, this little thing down here, this phrase, focus on the important, is that sometimes the urgent things are not important. We just have this urgency about them, but what will really happen if that thing doesn't get done, or that outcome doesn't happen, or that situation doesn't unfold the way you think it should, right? The urgent thing suddenly is replaced by the important things, and we get to question what is important in our life, what is truly important in our life. They always say when you're on your deathbed and you're looking back over your life, you can think of what really was important. Was it what I accomplished? Was it how much I made, what I owned? Or was it how I felt about life? How other people felt about life? What legacy do I want to leave with the world if I leave a legacy? What do I want to show was the most important thing to me? And it's some good reflection on looking at that. What I want to do next is I'm going on to the next deck, which talks about contrast, and it's about what's at the root of this emotion, so it can help bring some clarity for that as well. And since that was a minus 33, 3 plus 3 is 6, so if a card doesn't make itself known, that would be a minus 6. I'll take 6 from the bottom of the deck. All right, so I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this will be number 6. And this is bullied. If you watch the first reading, then this is the second step in the manipulation process. So what that is how we've been taught as a human civilization to manipulate others to get our way, or how we've been manipulated to give in and do what we didn't want to do, but do what other people wanted to do, is this manipulation, 3-part manipulation process. The first step is acting hurt. We're like, oh, I didn't get what I wanted. And we're like, oh, let's make it up to you. We feel bad because we've been taught that other people's emotional reactions are our responsibility. We're supposed to make them happy. So when they're not happy, then we feel it's our responsibility. So that's why, a little baby cries to get what it wants. And so a lot of times that works because we hate seeing people sad. We hate hearing a baby cry. We want to fix it to make that, unloving, fearful emotion stop. But when that doesn't work, then you go on to this stage, the bully. So, if the sad didn't work, then the mad is what kicks in next, and I'm going to act upset, and I can't believe you didn't do what I wanted you to do, and God, who are you anyway? And rah, 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 rah. And even getting violent, right? Trying to get people to do what we want them to do, or people doing that to us, to make us do what we don't want to do. We hate being yelled at. We hate just that loudness that comes with this. And then the third is really the root of what we're afraid of, which is being rejected. So when this doesn't work, then we'll reject. We'll, not follow them on Facebook, not answer their texts. I'm going to delete their number from my phone, or if I live with them, I'm going to give them the cold treatment and the cold shoulder and silent treatment, not talk to them, that type of thing. That's what we really fear is, oh my God, please don't reject me, because we have this fear if I'm rejected, I'm going to be rejected by everyone and like die alone or die a painful death or something, right? So this bullied is at the core of the stress, though. We feel that if we don't do what we're going to do, that we are going to get, yelled at. We're going to have people voice their, in a way, their disgust or their disappointment in us. And they're going to do it in a mean way, in an unloving way, that's going to make us just feel like our world has collapsed, right? So what we want to do, focusing on the important helps us understand what's truly important. Is some other person's opinion important? Well, we've been taught that it is, but really our opinion of ourselves is what is important. We don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. So when we start loving ourselves unconditionally, then we can start seeing that other people love us unconditionally and that we can love others unconditionally as well. Really getting to the root of what you feel is important is a huge piece of that. In addition to this focusing on the important, I'm also want to pull from this stack of tools of light, because this will also give us some additional information on how we can transform this stress into peace and love and joy. So since this was, it was a 6 and this is a 6 too. So hey, there you go. Some synchronicity there. I'm going to pull 6 from the top if a card does not make itself known as I'm shuffling here. So what additional information, what additional tool can we have to turn that stress into de-stress? De-stress the stress. Okay. All right, so we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this will be number 6. Yep. The world is unconditional love. And I love this for this because this is a piece of a 4-part meditation, which I will talk about in just a moment. But realizing that the world is actually made of unconditional love. Every person out there is actually that higher character that's made of unconditional love. That's actually their essence, their true being. This character they're playing, is this. We're afraid it's this. But when we realize that they are actually, the entire world is made of unconditional love, then we don't fear being rejected by them, because we just look at it as how that person's acting is about how they're feeling inside. They're fearing something, they're expressing their fear and pain. It's not about me, it's about how they're feeling. When we can transform that, if someone's angry, anger is the fight in fight or flight, which is spawned by fear. When we can see that, then we're like, oh, instead of getting defensive and fearing this, we realize it's a cry for love. It's a cry for unconditional love. And then we can be like, instead of us getting mad too or running, fight or flight, we embrace them and go, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. How can I help you? I love you, and that de-escalates the bulliness and brings harmony and love to the world. But this 4-part meditation is one of the most amazing things that came to me in my life. And again, I'll link this. I have a video series on this, like 4-part video series, and I'll put that in the description box below too. But it's and it's free, so so it's free down there. So the first part of that is, you realize I am unconditionally loved by the Creator of all things. you just sit in that. You just feel that love just flow down into your heart. Just take a deep breath, and you're just like, wow, I am unconditionally loved by the big kahuna, the king and the queen of the kingdom. And then that love just fills you so much up that your heart just flows to where you realize you are made of unconditional love. You are unconditional love. And then that fills you up and you overflow, where that unconditional love flows out to all the world. And so then that piece is, I unconditionally love the world. And then when you're sitting in all that love and you're sitting under this, beautiful waterfall of love, you feel this tide come back to you, and that's when you realize the world too is made of unconditional love. And it just brings this whole, just this perfection about life. It's like the Creator is perfect. I'm perfect in the eyes of the Creator because the Creator loves me unconditionally. I love the world. I love myself, and I love the world. And the world is perfect as well. It's made of unconditional love. Everything's unfolding perfectly. I just question what is important in life, and this is what is important. Now, one of the things I talked about is, now is the time, with the Mercury retrograde going, and, what isn't serving us anymore, so we can focus that energy on our dreams. And I know a lot of my life, I had lived my life for others, thinking that, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I've been told who I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what my dream is supposed to be. But when I got to the point of going, though that's not my dream. I don't want to do that stuff. It feels empty to me. Then, you come to this place and going, I don't even know what my dream is. What is my dream? And so I'm going to pull from this deck, or the stack in the deck, which is expressing love. And it's how is unconditional love being expressed to you, but also how can you express unconditional love to the world? And that's what our dream becomes is, it's like, what do I want to do? It's ask yourself, how do I want to express my unconditional love to the world? So that's what we're going to pull. And we'll do, this is 21, so that's 2 + 1 is 3, which that was 33. So I just love the synchronicity of 3s and 6s here. So if a card doesn't make itself known when I'm shuffling here, then I'll pull 3 from the top. So, how can you express your love to the world? And master number 44, so you got a master number 33 there. You have a master number 44 here. This is master connecting to the source. And I love this card. I mean, this is one of the most powerful cards in the deck. And so one is about connection to the source. It's about, it's just so fitting for this because, this is the love that's up above, and that's the Creator, and it's allowing the Creator's love to come down and fill you up. It's really connecting with the Creator. A message I'm getting is that it has a lot to do with worth too. Depending on your religious upbringing or your relationship with parents or those in authority, there's a lot of blockage that can come with our belief on who the Creator is, right? I look at it as going to a party, and you have all these people telling you, I want you to meet this individual, and this is how they are, and this is what they do, and some people are like, oh, be careful, he's really judgmental, you don't want to piss him off, he'll literally send you to hell, or there's so much that they want for you, so be careful. They're going to try to draw you into giving up your life to do what they want you to do. So be careful of them. They have this pyramid scheme or whatever it might be. And then you meet the creator. The creator, of course, is the individual people are wanting to introduce you to. But what they were doing is telling you about the relationship they had with the creator. And as you interact on a personal level with them, you start to realize, you know what? Letting all the opinions go, when I'm getting to know you, you're pretty cool, and oh my God, you're such a loving person. I just don't see how, what all those people's opinions were about you. Because you're developing your own personal relationship. And then you're like, you know what? Would you want to get coffee sometime? And then you're like, absolutely, I'd love to. Let's go right now. I know this place is open 24 hours a day. And you go and you start to have this deep personal relationship with the creator. And so I feel that one of the big steps that you can take is becoming close to the creator, because when you can grasp onto that unconditional love and become in that relationship with the creator where you feel the creator in you and you know that you are a part of this family of the creator, you're part of this kingdom, in fact you're in the royal court of the kingdom, your whole life changes, your whole attitude about yourself and others changes. But then this master healer too, that it mentions on the bottom here, is I really feel you've done so much work in your life, both on your fears of understanding the world and mastering, because like master number 11 is about how I made it work, all this ego stuff. I was really being successful at a lot of stuff, but I still felt empty. Master number 22 is when you realize there's more than just this ego character that you're playing on here. There's this higher self as well, and you learn to balance and become aware and master that understanding of the two worlds that exist. There's a physical and a spiritual. The physical is the dream, the spiritual is reality. And then 33, which is the master number here, is when you go on your spiritual journey and you master, walking around in this human bodysuit as a spiritual being. So, you walk a higher percentage in the spirit, less in the physical, so you kind of bypass and go beyond that 50. And then the 44 is when you combine all of that and you understand how everything works and you're able to walk around with unconditional love flowing out of you more than fear. And that allows you to become this master healer. Because you've gone through so much yourself, you understand and have compassion for and empathy for the journey that everyone is on. You might come across someone who is mastering, at a master number 11 level, right? They're understanding the ego and they're like, why am I so disappointed in life? And you're like, well, if you'd like, I have some, perspective I can give you on that. And they're like, please. Then you allow that unconditional love to come through, and you're able to share with them about, we're all taught to look outside ourselves for our definition and our validation, when in reality, when this unconditional love from the creator becomes the definition of who we are. Wow, stable. When you define yourself by external things, unstable. Because if you're defining yourself by who you're with, or what situation you're in, or what you own or possess, those things are unstable. People change, opinions change by the moment, or they pass away. Situations never stay the same for very long at all. And things, of course, break, deteriorate, or are stolen. So that's why those are unstable. So you're able to give that message. This is the most important. Focus on the important, not the urgent. I must have. Really? Is that really important? Oh, no, not really. This is the most important. So really feel that's the way that you can help people heal. But also, when you connect to this energy, you become a channel, not just for information and messages, but you can also, when that love energy is coming through, that can actually help physical bodies heal. You can find ways, and I'm going to be doing a video here in the near future about how I use this love energy to help with healings, different types of healings. So, but you're able to do that, and so you can actually even do, real healing in people's life, not just a healing of emotional, but spiritual healing, physical healing as well. So, boom, boom, boom. And lastly, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull a card here from this Queen of the Moon Oracle, just to get you one final message. All right. What's the final message for those that chose the full moon in Virgo? Reading number 2, please. It's the final message for today. Okay. Really feel this one. I was wanting to be heard. And this is the waning crescent, number 24, which is again is a number 6. Protection. And I love this. This kind of, even before I read what's in the little book, this just feels like what I was talking about. This is a healer. Sometimes that you just have to help carry people at times in their life because they feel weak even though they're not weak. So you feel strong because when you are stable and they're feeling unstable, then that helps you carry them for a little bit. Sometimes, it's like that footprints in the sand, if you've ever heard that, where someone was walking along, they saw their life and they saw, 2 sets of footprints, and that's when, the Creator was walking alongside you in your life, and you saw where suddenly there's just one set of footprints, and you're like, why did you leave me during that time? And the Creator's like, well no, what that was that's when I carried you. That's why there's only one set of footprints, because I picked you up and carried you. So it's a beautiful, beautiful just awareness of that we can be carried sometimes. And when we feel, when we're in this human body feeling small, feeling weak, that we can be carried, and that we can carry others when we feel strong and other people are feeling not strong. So protection says your higher power, however you describe this, is a loving and protective energy. You are loved and protected. Identify your fears. You can protect yourself better. Trust in yourself. As the lunar cycle comes to the last set of crescents, in this case the waning ones, we know that the dark moon is close, and so is the fresh start of the beautiful new moon. Here is our chance to let go of our resistance, surrender, and let go. To do that with confidence, we may feel that we need some support from the universe, or whatever we believe our higher power to be. That support can take the form of feeling protected from whatever might happen, and helping us get the courage to release what needs to go. Witches and other pagan practitioners who use the lunar and seasonal energies are often asked to assist people with spells, techniques, and even talismans of protection. These darker moons and the dark moon itself provide a great time to create and cast for this purpose. An easy way is to plug into the earth, raise that benevolent and loving energy, and turn to the 4 directions, asking each direction to shield and protect you in your endeavors. Then, finally, connect with the moon herself, with you as a conduit in the middle, brimming full of power and confidence. Trust in yourself to do what you need to do. And if you believe are into like the crystals and stones and those types of things, black tourmaline is what you can use to help transform that as well. And I know, I mean, I was spent a lot of my life growing up as Christians. So when you hear witches and pagans and casting and all that kind of stuff, you know, just realize that love energy is love energy is love energy. You know, everyone has a different way that they express those things. You know, prayer, the Holy Spirit, those things are of love. That's about talking to the Creator of all things, right? Allowing the Holy Spirit, which is the essence of the Creator, which is love, energy, love, you know, the comforter is love, and allowing that love to come in. So when you hear things like that, take what resonates with you. Don't fear, you know, how other people express that. Just know that everyone is believing what they are in their life and expressing themselves the way they are in their life because of how they were brought up. But as we focus in on what is important, we realize that it's love, right? Love is the most important thing. And we realize that the world is made of unconditional love. And if we aren't seeing that yet, we can spend time looking inward, because that is where we're going to find unconditional love. You know, as the Bible says, love the Creator with all your heart, all your soul, all your body. Love yourself, love others. That is the answer to every question. Love. Unconditional love. I hope this brought a little bit of peace into your moments today. And if it did, I always appreciate any support you can give, you know, whether it's liking this video, commenting on it, sharing it, or even subscribing to my channel. All those things help, you know, my videos be kind of recommended or suggested for other people on their, you know, suggestions and recommendations for videos on YouTube. And it's free, so and I definitely appreciate any of that you're willing to do. I do appreciate it. I always appreciate you taking the time to watch the videos. Everything I do just to help us remember who we are, which are these powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit beings made of unconditional love, and to remember that we have this deep connection with the Creator of all things. So I send you all my love. I wish you all the best. You take care now. All right, if you chose reading number 3, which is the full moon, then this is the reading for you. And I'm going to go ahead and put that over here out of the way. And so because this is surrender to the divine on the card here, I thought, what a perfect opportunity just to ask for clarity from the Creator. What is it in my life that I could surrender to give me more clarity on my dreams for my life and my path for my life? Because this is a time, you know, with Mercury retrograde ending and this full moon coming up in Virgo. You know, Virgo is very much a go-getter, organizer, let's go. And digging into understanding of yourself and of life. So because this is a time for us to take action on our dreams, I feel kind of led to let's focus in on that. What can I surrender to the Creator so that I can become more aware of how to make my dreams come to fruition, understand my dreams, or even know what is my dream for my life. You know, so much we are inundated a lot of our lives of this is who you're supposed to be, this is what you're supposed to do, this is the ideal life that you should live, this should be your dream. And as we kind of make our steps along life and we get to that point, we realize it's not really what I want to do. So what is it that I want to do? So that's what we're going to look into. I'm going to use an oracle deck that I'm co-creating with the Creator right now. And the first 2 stacks, there's like 7 stacks in the deck. The first 2 talk about like, what is the fire? What are these emotions that I'm experiencing? What is rattling my cage? What is in my face? And so we're going to use that to identify what area of our life we can surrender. So while I'm shuffling here, I just want to thank the Creator for your unconditional love. I mean, that's the gift of all gifts, is to be loved by the Creator of all things. And we do thank you for that. Thank you for being with us, delivering these messages of love. We also thank all our angels, all our spirit guides, all our loved ones who have passed, and any of those other unconditionally loving spirit beings that are on the other side. We welcome you and thank you for helping bring these messages of love today. All right. So what area of our life can we have some clarification on what we can surrender to help us become more aware of what our dreams are? These make it really obvious for us too. So pile number 3, we like really clear messages, right? So this one was calling out our name. So this one is called the win-lose game, on God. And the advice that the Creator and Spirit gives us on how to transform our emotions into peace, love, and joy is this here, which says the best defense is to not get offended. And what I love, the best defense is a good offense. No, the best defense is not to get offended at all and not get on the defense, right? So I really feel like for this, what's standing in the way of our dream is this defensive stance that we have on how we think things should be. Because the win-lose, you have these definitions of what does winning mean? What does success mean? And we have these strong positions that we take and we battle it, and we actually, for this particular reading, we're battling ourselves, because this is us just mirrored back. We're battling ourselves. We're trying to fight for what we think is love, and this is conditional love. This is what we're fighting for. And so this success definition that we have is tightly wound and bound to what we think lovability means. Like I mentioned, what success means, what being a winner means. And so what we can look at is writing down, I am successful when ... and jot down all those things, all those beliefs you have about what being successful means. And that's going to be the start for you. Because when you start to question that, then you're going to understand, what is it that I'm trying to defend? What is it that I'm trying to defend? And that's going to get you some clarity on what you believe your dreams are supposed to be. And that's the way to start. Because, and we'll get some clarification here too in a moment for you, but that's one of the things that is being recommended for you, is to start with that, journal that, write it down and say, I am successful when blah, 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 blah. And it can be, when I have this job, when I'm with this person, when I have this house, when I have this car, when I'm making this much a year, when I feel this way. And you're going to find that all those things are pointing to the future. Before I go on and get more clarification, what the Creator's reminding me is, I've had a couple points in my life where I've left jobs because I want to pursue what I thought were my dreams. And I had a big spiritual ego of, oh, this is who you're going to be. You're going to be, best-selling spiritual book author, and you're going to be going on, these massive, doing presentations and doing classes and all this stuff. And I was like, yes, that's the dream, because that means I'm successful and that I'm doing, being some good to the Creator. And what was wonderful is one day I wrote down, okay, what is my dream? Let me just see what is my real dream. And I had all those things written down. These are my goals. This is who I want to become. And the Creator said, okay, let's go on a little journey. And in my mind's eye, the Creator took me to the future and showed me all being in that place where all those things had come true. And are you happy now? And I wasn't. I was looking, okay, what's next then? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And then, we came back to the present, and I'm like, oh, wow. If I'm not happy in this moment with what I have, how am I going to be happy in any future moments? And so my dream became be here now with you, Creator. Be here now with you. And I tell you, that just brought so much peace and so much love. And I was like, I don't have to try to become someone else. I can just be me today, loving who I am, loving what's going on around me, being grateful for what's around me, and appreciative. And you just come into this calm place where you hear, oh, what's the next thing that I want to do? Just the very next thing. I want to do this. I want to express myself creatively this way, or whatever. So there you go. Wanted me to share that, so I've shared that. All right, next, a little more clarity around this is this next stack in this Oracle deck. It's called the Contrast. And sorry about the glare. It's what is at the root of my emotions. So this helps get a little more clarity on this. And since that was a minus 12, 1 plus 2 is 3. So if a card doesn't make itself known, I'll take 3 from the bottom of the deck since it's a negative number. And we'll see, this one I think is wanting to make a little shout out, so we'll do that one. And this is Heartbreak. Oh no! What I love about this card, though, is this reminds me of the three of Swords in the tarot deck, which is for me is heartbreak. It's disappointment, and what I love about it, though, is because we feel like. And we've been taught that our heart can be broken, when these things don't happen. Oh, I can feel it. I felt my heart break. I tell you I did. And I was like, well, what you actually feel when we're disappointed or something happens in our life, when fear pricks our heart, that's what feels like it's breaking. And it's our heart. It's like a little electrical jolt goes through our heart to put us into fight or flight mode to help prepare us to, either fight against some big creature that's going to try to eat us, or to run from it to where we can't, so we won't get, munched on. And so when we're taught that our heart can be broken, it's a lie. We can only go into panic mode, but we can come out of panic mode. And our heart cannot be broken. It's a mighty, powerful, strong, powerful thing that cannot be broken. So that's something that you can look at and look into. But that's what is at the root of our win or lose game, because we're afraid that if I don't do what I think I'm supposed to do, if I don't achieve the dream that I think I'm supposed to achieve, then I'm worthless. I'm going to get rejected, and my heart's going to be broken. I'm going to feel unloved. I'm going to feel like nothing. I'm going to feel worthless. Which, pretty much, that's the entire drama play that we come down here to experience, is to feel small when we're large, to feel sad when we're full. Our natural essence is joy. To feel stress when our essence is peace. To feel conditional love, and when we're a being of unconditional love. So that is some clarity there. And next we're going to do, we'll move beyond the doom and gloom here and go into, in addition to the best defense is not to be offended by, what happens in our life, and not to be offended when our dreams don't come true, or supposed dreams don't come true. We're going to look at some other tools of light that can help transform all of this into unconditional love, peace, and joy. And this is what this does, is just provide some tools to assist in transforming those fears. Because that was a 9, a positive 9 there. If a card doesn't make itself known, I'll do 9 from the top. So we'll see, what additional messages do you have for us? That shows the full moon card, surrendering to the divine. How can you help us surrender these to the divine? What ways can we do that? All right, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this will be number 9. The power to choose. And I love this because this is our free will card. It's like the get out of jail free card, get out of conditional love and stress card. It's amazing that, this life is like just a giant dramatic improv act. And we have all these situations, all these things that we knew and decided what we wanted to go through when he came down here. But our free will, what comes into it all is that no matter what happens outside of us, we get to choose what it means. We get to choose if I want to feel heartbroken, I get to choose how I'm going to react. I get to choose, like I said, what it means about me, what it means about others, what it means about the world. I'm the one that gets to create the story. I'm the one that gets to expand on this improv act, and I improvise in whatever situation it is. What I love is that, the yin yang is all about, usually you have, there's the dark and the light, and the light and the dark, but purposely they had us use this aqua blue, which is unconditional love. Because the message is that no matter what is going on, there's no wrong choice. There's unconditional love in every moment. We just don't see it until we see it. And so no matter what happens, whatever choice we make, we came here to experience the opposites of what we are. That's why, we're these beings of light. If all this card was white, you couldn't see anything on it, but we wanted shadows here so that we could have clarity and understand who we are by experiencing what we're not. So we come here to experience, and every moment, by golly, we are experiencing. So no moment is wasted. Every second is for us and for our journey. And we get to choose what we experience in every moment. And if, the great news is, when I first learned about the power of choice, I was a little upset because I was like, you mean all this stuff I experienced that I really didn't feel good to me, I chose? And then, yep. And I'm like, I got upset. But then it dawned on me, oh, wow. So I don't feel out of control like I used to feel out of control, because when I take ownership of all my emotions of the past that I chose and it was for me, I also realize I get to choose all my future emotions too. And that I can control. So no matter what happens on the outside, I get to decide what it means. No one else for me. And that felt powerful, and that just transformed. Takes all the pressure off, right? All right. And then this is the seventh stack in that oracle deck. And the reason I want to pull from here is because this is about expressing love. How is unconditional love being expressed to me? But for this purpose of this reading, this is also how can I express unconditional love to the world? So when I asked, what is your dream? And you don't know what your dream is, this helps us understand, because really, when we truly get to the heart of who we are unconditional love. So our dream becomes, how do I want to express unconditional love to the world? And so this will help bring some guidance around how that possibly can be for you. And since this was a 17, 7 and 1 is 8, so if a card doesn't make itself known, I will take 8 from the top of the deck. Okay, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this one will be number 8. I love this card. I love this compass, and it's guiding love. And so what this card represents for me, for as far as like how can you express unconditional love to the world, is that once you connect with unconditional love inside you, you're able to express that outwardly, and you become an individual that can help guide others to finding their unconditional love, to help them through their, the drama that's happening, help them understand about the improv act that's going on and their power of choice and just all these wonderful things that help empower someone. So really, this screams like a spiritual life coach, type of scenario where you get to help guide others. And if you don't feel like, I don't want to do anything that grandiose to where I become, a life coach for others as like my business or, my focus, just being that listening ear. I know, a less involved, type of scenario would be, just meeting people for coffee, for dinner, for lunch, being that friend to people, being that listening ear, being that, like it says, just a guiding love, a guiding light, just helping people discover what their north is, what their compass is, and helping them, to come out of the storm and into that, that peaceful eye, to where they remember what they really want out of life, what is truly important to them. So I really feel that is more of a, kind of extremes, or somewhere in between that, you can also be, I'm seeing like a teacher of sorts too, but more like a teacher's aide, where you're not the main individual that's presenting a class, but where you can help be a guide in a class, so that's like volunteer, where, at different stages in your life, you have different willingness of commitment, right? So in the beginning, it starts off just chatting with people, with friends of friends, and, helping be that loving voice in their life, to where, sometimes you're volunteering to help, someone that's teaching, someone that's doing, life coaching, that kind of thing, where you attend a class as a mentor, or, someone who's gone through the class and you're there as a sounding board for them, that type of thing, or full blown, where you're teaching classes, where you're being that life coach, that spiritual life coach, helping guide people, professionally as your profession. So, all right. Lastly, what I want to do, I'm going to pull one last card here from this Queen of the Moon Oracle. Excuse me. And just to get some additional clarification, as your last card, just to wrap up your reading here. All right, what's the final message for those that chose the full moon card number 3, please? Okay, I really feel this one was wanting to come out here. And I love this full moon. And this is the worm full moon, number 31. And I love this because it's faith. It's about birthing something new. And I love eyes closed. It's almost like she's dreaming, right? So it's all about the dreams. And I'll put this right here. And then I'm going to read from the little book here. Just see what additional final message you have. So fertility and abundance now return. Things will get better. Growth has started. Hold on to your dreams in adversity. And a little phrase that says is, I know all will be well. It is in the darkest times that we find it hard to see the light. It is hard to see when things seem hopeless, how we can ever feel hope again. When things seem to fail, it is really difficult to draw up our resilience and stand up again. We learn by observing the seasons that the light does return. The barrenness of winter turns infinitely and surely into spring. The ice melts, the days grow longer, and the nights grow shorter. Warmth and fertility slowly return to the land. It is hard to have faith in ourselves and the universe. And the book says, I actually think faith is the real F word. Faith requires us to let go of our anxieties and have trust, perhaps in something we can't actually see yet. Having a more complete faith in yourself and a higher power to lead you to your greatest good is a solid intention. While having a rigid blind faith does not serve us, it is important to hold on to our dreams and intentions and to focus on the outcome. To do this without taking note of what is happening around us can be folly. Our ancestors would observe nature carefully, looking for the signs of new life and fertility, altering their hunting or planting to best take advantage. Yet, they knew that the ice would melt and the soil, damp and ready, teeming with worms, would receive their seeds. And if you like crystals and stones, the companion stone that can help is the lapis lazuli. And I love this for you because it talks about having faith and trust. And that's what I love about, when I talked about the dreams and being here now with the Creator. Whenever I would get drawn out into the future and I'd attach my happiness to outcomes, it felt miserable, right? But when I have, it's totally okay to have dreams of, I would like to write a book someday. The value of yourself the value of your worth that you attach to that is what brings the anxiety and the fear and all that. When you look at your intentions of why you want to do it, if you're doing it expressing your unconditional love, you're giving without expectations of what an end result is going to be, what it's going to mean about you. You're just so full of love, you express it to the world. And I don't have any other thing coming in, so I'm going to leave it at that for you today. I do appreciate any support that you have for me, as always. Any likes you can give to my channel, comments, sharing the video, even subscribing to the channel. All of that does help out. My channel helps it grow, helps it become a recommended and suggested video for other people on YouTube as well. And it's all free, so any of that you want to do, I always greatly appreciate any of that. I do hope this resonated with you and brought you a little bit of peace, love, and joy today. Everything I do to help us remember who we really are, these powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit beings made of unconditional love and of that deep connection that we have with the Creator of all things. So I do wish you all my love, and you take care of yourself. Bye-bye now.